Hey, sports fans, welcome to the show here on the Missouri Sports Network, the Missouri Sports Network, where everyone has a home field advantage. I'm Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy with the Scoreboard Guy Network, airing courtesy of KICK 92.3 and all across the world right here on the Scoreboard Guy Network. We're going to go a little bit in southern Missouri, down to Blue Eye. We're going to visit with head cross-country coach Jacob Thompson-Krug. Coach TK, how's it going so far this summer?
Great. It's weather's cooperated great. We've been getting a lot of good runs in, a lot of participation on these voluntary workouts. So it's been a great summer.
You're coming off of back-to-back state championship type seasons. The girls winning first 2 years ago, the boys finishing second in each of the last two seasons. Last year the girls down a little bit. You had an injury to Avery Arnold that kind of kept her out from last season. First off, how on the girls' side, one, how's Avery doing without violating any HEPA rules? It makes making sure she's healthy and out and running. And I know they're multi-sport athletes on these teams.
Yeah, obviously with volleyball going on over the summer, she's been staying active, hasn't been restricted. In that, she's been doing some cross training, so to not come back too early and overuse those muscles and soreness. So she's really easing back into it and looking really strong.
And Riley finishing first, I believe each of the last two. No, last year, but Riley finished third last year, got first 2 years ago.
She's finished first every season,
3 years in a row.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're going into their senior year, that girls group. Talk about what you've got coming back. I know Emma Bump had a great finish a couple seasons ago. Where are we at on the girls' side? Who's coming back, and what are your expectations?
Well, last year, going into districts, I only had two varsity returners coming from due to injury and some graduation. But all those girls that had to step up into that varsity role last year, they're all coming back. And last year was some of their first, some second year ever running cross country. So I think being a part of the program last year for the first time, they've really bought into it this summer. So we're going to have some really great depth. Girls coming back from injury, girls returning this year that had never ran before, and they got one season already under their belt. It also helps too that they got to train and stay in shape through track season. They all participated in track, which is something they didn't have the opportunity to do the season before. So I got a lot of confidence coming into the fall on the girls' side with not only being in better shape from track season and running this summer, but just an experience and going through a couple seasons already.
On the boys' side, you get second place finishes in each of the last, this year, second place finish. Last year, second place finish as well. What do you got coming back there? I mean, you look at that roster from that second place finish a year ago, and a lot of kids underclassmen.
Right. The first year we got runner up. My seniors now were only sophomores, and it was freshmen. So that same group came back last year, and I got them all coming back this year. Ryan Cardenzana, he's a senior this year, and he's really led that senior and that junior class. I don't think we would have had the success the last couple of years without his leadership and competitive spirit that's led those boys to the success they've had. And so we're looking to add a little bit more depth with some incoming freshmen and sophomores. I'm not sure what their opportunity is to compete in any varsity races this year, just because of the depth of that junior senior class we have. But they are extremely motivated. They get together weekends and run. 8 o'clock at night, let's go for a run. Sunday mornings, let's go for a run.
We're under a month away from the actual fall season practices starting. But give us an idea of what these young men and women are doing on a daily basis over the summer to stay in shape?
The biggest thing and the first step to, I think, anything in life is um, getting up early and showing up. They're up at school by 6:45 in the morning when the weather's coolest. Um, we don't put a lot of miles on during the summer, which is not typical of summer training. Um, but I've found it with the kids that we have, they prefer higher intensity type workouts and and shorter duration of practices and runs. And it's been beneficial for them. I think we get a lot of good training with all the hills that we have around here. We maximize our space. We have a lot of vertical training on those hills that makes up for maybe some of the miles that we don't do on a horizontal flat course. Um, so we do a lot of intense interval type training, and then mix in with some recovery days. We work on our aerobic energy systems. Uh, Something we've incorporated this year that I did a lot of research on this off season, um, and we did a lot of when I was coaching football in Nebraska, is strength training over the summer. And so we've incorporated a lot of balance and stability strength training, nothing with weights, um, but just to help us when we come into the season and maybe we have two meets in a week or we're feeling sore, our muscles are already adapted to that. It makes sense. But cross country is one of the sports where you're on 1 foot for 3.1 miles. You're never on 2 feet at the same time. And I found that a lot of us can't even stand on 1 foot. So incorporating that strength training and balance, um, I'm hoping to give us a better edge this season. I don't think it's going to hurt, but so they've been running, they've been doing strength training. Um, they're just really motivating their body into to what we're doing.
Visiting with Jacob Thompson, crew, the head cross country coach at Blue Eye. And Coach, once the season gets started, here coming up in less than a month, what does your schedule look like? Not normally you look at folks' schedules going into it. Are you participating in the Chili Pepper? Or what challenges lie in front of the cross country team at Blue Eye?
Well, we'll start the season off up in Bolivar at the Southwest Cross Country Coaches Association Classic. I like that race in the sense that everybody runs together. All the varsity boys, classes 1 through 5, will run and compete against each other, but they score it separately. So it gives our kids a chance to, especially more of our elite runners, to compete against that elite competition. But it also gives some of those other runners who work really hard to get scored against their peers as well. So I really like that race because it benefits all the diverse runners on our team that we have. We'll be going to the Gans Creek Classic the end of September in preparation for the state meet in November. Kind of get all the butterflies out. That's a pretty big event. A lot of fanfare. It's a really neat deal, and it can be kind of intimidating, with all the excitement of going to state, and now you're competing in this really fun race. So going up there in September will be good. Just make it more normal. So that's a good race. A lot of kids like going to run at Clever. It's a good course, but our kids always feel really confident after that run. They run really well there for some reason. I'm not sure what it is. If it's the water up there that they drank before the race, but they just feel good. And that's kind of towards the end of October. So they get all this great confidence with these PRs or season bests, and then following that up, we have conference and then districts and state. So it's a nice kind of end of the season pick me up to finish off with.
A lot of times when you see teams that have the amount of success that you guys have had over this past 2 or 3 seasons at the cross country level, you'll see, if it's a basketball team, you'll see it maybe hard to schedule games because of the talent you've got coming in. Do you find that, a lot of maybe some schools have said, we really would like to win our race. We don't know if you guys can need to be here. Have you had any difficulty scheduling?
We haven't had difficulty scheduling for that reason. It has been a challenge working around volleyball schedules and baseball schedules because of all the multi-sport athletes I have on both sides. making sure races don't conflict with the volleyball tournament or, a baseball game on a Thursday night. I don't want to put kids in a situation, and administration, agrees with me, and we're all on the same page that we don't want to make kids choose, especially am I going to be, I have to choose between being successful in one sport as opposed to another. So that's the biggest challenge, is just working around the schedule of the kids and all the different sports. But we make it work. And, sometimes it just ends up being where they run a race and then they jump in the car as soon as they cross the finish line and get to the volleyball game.
Wow. Coach, with kind of having your hand on the pulse of cross country here in Southwest Missouri, knowing what's coming back, who are some teams maybe that you feel like are maybe going to make a step up, maybe challenge you, maybe not even in your class, but maybe teams that you've seen at some of these other races that you go into that you feel like, hey, they may be having may be able to have a good season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our conference in our little part of the Ozarks, there's a lot of seniors graduating. But looking at some bigger schools, Branson, they always have a competitive team. They train on their hills that they have there. That's tough. Spokane has some young girl runners that have really improved last year and have some success in track this past year. Obviously going to Bolivar to compete, El Dorado. They had some really strong runners as well. College Heights was a big surprise last year on the girls' side, and I think they have some returners as well. They ended up getting first in girls Class 1 last year with only 2 girls in the top 25. So they have some really good depth on their back end. And then just traditional schools that have been doing well, like Spokane and Southwest. They have great coaches, great programs. So those are definitely not schools on the boys' side to sleep on.
Bet. Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being flexible with working this out. We're actually recording this at 8 in the morning. You guys have just gotten out of a run and a training practice here this morning, but I appreciate your time and best of luck. And I know we'll catch up with each other. We always seem to meet up at the Bolivar Southwest Cross Country Coaches Association race here at Bolivar, which is 2 blocks from my house. So, hey, best of luck, and hopefully everyone stays healthy, and we'll visit again soon. I hope, and I'm fairly certain.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, you're listening to the Missouri Sports Network here, powered by KICK Radio 92.3 and the Scoreboard Guy Network, and we'll be back after this.